Okay, so the real trick with these questions is picking out which one is going to be population and which one is sample. So make sure that you're reading the words really carefully and actually understanding why we're doing something, not just doing it because you know how the question works. It's about the language and the process. Okay, so airline data shows that on a Brisbane to LA flight, luggage mass averages, let's go straight to my little pen. So this would be population data because the airline is showing you that the average is equal to 17.3 kilograms with a standard deviation of 3.1. Now this is population standard deviation, which means that if we want sample standard deviation, we would have to use the formula of the deviation over the square root of how many is in the sample, which would be 3.1 over n. Now, I don't know if we're going to use that later. I'm just throwing it in to help make this very clear. Okay, so given the probability of the average luggage being less, little one eats the big one, less than 16. Now, if it's just less than, I wouldn't be including it. It won't matter for this, but just in case. A 0.0179 for a tool group that is size N. Assume that the luggage mass is normally distributed. That means that we are assuming that our size N is going to be greater than 30. So if it's less than 30, you can't assume that it's going to take on normal distribution just because there's not enough things in the sample to give it that shape. Okay, so let's get started. Now, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw this into a picture because it helps my little tiny brain. So here we've got the mean as 17.3, which means that 16 is down here. If we're looking that it's less than, then it's going to look like this. So now I'm going to first, what are we going to do first? Well, I've got a lot of information here. Now, this is indicating to me that we're going to be using a z-score. So when I'm thinking about my z-score, I can be thinking about the formula that will help me use this information and this information and this information all in one. So it's asking us how many are in the tour group, which is the number in the sample, not in the population, which means that we're going to be using deviation like this, not like this. So what I'm really talking about here is this formula. The mean, the score minus the mean over the deviation, but in this case our deviation is going to be this, and I should get rid of this, never mind that. Okay, so that's what I'm going to fill in eventually. So let's work out our z-score. Now, my working on this isn't very neat. Normally you would go linear down the page, but the sketch pad for some reason makes my bookwork look horrendous. Okay, so z is going to be equal to, let's go menu, then we're going to go statistics. So stat, dist, normal, stat, distribution, I just pressed binomial, normal, and then this would indicate that we're using the inverse normal, INV. Okay, so looking at my little picture there, we're looking left. It's going to have an area of 0.0179. 0.0179. We're going to have a standard deviation of 1 and a mean of 0. Now, I'm doing this to get it just as a z-score, not the actual score. Okay, so that's going to give me, so deviation was equal to 1, mean was equal to 0, so then the x inverse score here, or our z-score, sorry, is going to be negative 2 point. We'll go to forward places because it is statistics, so 0.992. Okay, so I've got a z-score. This will go here. I've got an actual score, which is this. Then I've got a mean, which is that. And then I've got this part here. I can substitute that in because we're looking for the number in the sample. Okay, so let's start chugging and plugging. Minus 2.0992 is equal to 16 minus 17.3 over 3.1 over square root n. Now, we're going to go menu, math, nope, sorry, options, calc, solve n, my favorite button, minus 2.0992. Shift equals fraction button 16 minus 17.3 over bracket fraction button again. Who saw that coming? So exciting. Over square root 2. Nope, sorry. Delete x, my bad. Bracket and then get out of here, and then we're solving for x. Close that bracket, press the old executey, and we get the answer of n equals, here I'm going to write solve n so that people know what I did in the calculator, very important, 25.05, that'll round up to 6, 25.06. So therefore, now we got this little tiny part of a person, but if we go, how does this work again? Yeah, look, we're just going to round it. So we need at least 26 people. We need at least 26 people. Okay, and I can double check that. Nah, that's where we're going to stop. Look, I would double check the answer to see if they've put 25 or 26 here. Sometimes we do some strange things with rounding, and it depends on the question type. A lot of the time it depends whether you're trying to fall within here. So remember, double check that.